Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Good morning. We are live. All right. This is Odyssey Answers.
Odyssey Answers.
Where I'm Sherry.
I'm Mike.
And we answer all your pet questions. If you have a question,
most of them.
Just put it.
Come on.
Yeah, if we can't answer it.
All of them. We'll tell you what we can't answer, but we'll give it a good shot.
But yeah, we've been in the pet industry a long time. We own Odyssey Pets in Dallas, Texas. We are a grooming, boarding, daycare facility, and we also do holistic foods. We also do aquariums and custom aquarium installation and services. If you have a question, you just put it in the comments. Did you have something you wanted to start with?
Yeah, there's always good things to talk about. I like to drop a little PSA on everyone before we get started answering questions. And today's PSA is going to be about poison in the house. And here's the reason why I'm bringing it up. Right now, I know that we're all stuck at home, right, with the kids, and the kids are going all over the house. They're going crazy. We see the bedraggled parents coming in to get some pet food and a reprieve from just being stuck in the house with the kids. And one of the things that happens is kind of like the holidays, right, where we leave stuff laying around everywhere, and there's candy everywhere, and there's chocolate everywhere. And, you know, the kids are just getting into it and leaving it around because their schedules are completely wonky. So wanted to bring back to the forefront the idea that we need to watch out what we're leaving around the house, because a lot of these things are poison for our dogs. Chocolate, obviously. Now, if your dog eats an M&M, most dogs will be fine. That's not a big problem. But if your dog eats a whole bag of M&Ms, you may have to go to the vet. Xylitol, that's an amazing product that they now put in toothpastes and several candies that does wonders for humans and their teeth, and it's a great sweetener, sugar alternative, but it is absolutely perilously toxic to dogs. And there's even some peanut butters out there that are now using it as a sweetener rather than sugar. So you've got to watch out for xylitol. It's literally in everything now. And so it's great for our teeth, really bad for dogs. It can kill them.
Yeah, our dog got into a bag of, I think, cough drops or something.
Yeah, they were lozenges
that had xylitol in it. And he caught it like right as our dog did it. And what you can do is pour hydrogen peroxide down
there's actually there's ratios. Okay, so by weight, you can do an emergency Google, estimate the weight of your dog, and do the tablespoon per dose to cause your dog to vomit. Now, the hydrogen peroxide is one of those things that should be in all of your pet first aid kits, but not for the thing you would need, not for cleaning a wound. In fact, for those, you want to use other things, soap and water first, and then you want to use polysporin as an antibacterial ointment for a wound, but you don't want to use hydrogen peroxide because apparently it makes it really difficult for vets to work on a serious wound. So you want to clean it really good, but you don't want to use peroxide on a wound for a dog, and that's counterintuitive. But why do we want it in our pet health kit? Is because you can use it as a way to get the dog to throw up, and it's a really safe, effective emergency tool to get your dog to throw up whatever it has eaten. I've had to use it once, like she said, with our cattle dog because he got into a bunch of candies. But also, one of the other things that was, we have one of those garbage disposal dogs who literally will eat anything. And
he got into a pack of wildflower seeds.
Yeah, wildflower seeds,
which is also toxic.
It was highly toxic. It almost took him out.
He also ate some. He got in under the sink.
This is not a good dog. He's not a good dog.
We've since moved anything toxic out of his reach, but he got into a box of dishwasher soap, but it was the powdered kind, and he ate that along with the sunflower seeds.
Yeah, it's like
he threw up suds for 2 days.
Yeah, two days. It was terrible. But the point is that while we're all sitting around the house and watching our kids and living our lives, just remember there's a lot of toxic substances in the house that the dogs can get into. And anyway, that's my PSA. Let's make sure we don't accidentally poison the dog. The last thing you need is a trip to the vet over something that was just left laying around the house. So anyway, watch out for for what's laying around the house. There's a lot of pitfalls for the dog.
All right. If anybody has any questions, you can drop it in the comments, and we will do our best to answer for you. Otherwise, last week we touched on nutrition, and pet nutrition is a huge topic. And I mean, we could go on and on and on. But today I wanted to go over what I tell all of our new hires. So when we hire a new employee, they have to go through an onboarding process with me, and I'm going to go over it with you. So, and this is just about pet food. And this is very basic stuff.
Yeah, it's a general understanding of what's going on in pet food.
Yes. So I have this great visual as well. It's the dog and cat food hierarchy of types of foods. So we are going to start at the top. Let's picture a pyramid. We're going to start at the top of the pyramid with the best thing you could feed. And that's going to be raw diet. And I know that's controversial, but the reason raw is considered the best is because it hasn't been processed. Anytime you apply heat to food, it depletes the nutrients. So raw,
and creates carcinogens.
Yeah. So raw diets, commercial raw diets have meat, bone, a little bit of veg. It usually has organ meat in it. And then they grind it all up and they put it into a patty or a medallion, or even little bite-sized pieces. And then you can defrost it. You can keep it in the fridge for up to 3 days, and you just feed it out raw. I switched to a raw diet 3 years ago, and I will never go back. I've seen the improvements in my dogs, and it's totally worth it.
We do have one dog that can't eat raw because he had pancreatitis, and he had to go on a relatively low fat diet, and it had to be special. Other than that, yeah, I would say.
Yeah. I have
thrive.
2 15-year-old dogs, and they made the switch perfectly. They look better than ever.
Several years ago, they made the switch. 3 years ago, yeah. And they're 15 now, at least. They might be 16. Yeah.
Anyway, so we're going down the pyramid to freeze-dried. So freeze-dried foods, and I'll show you an example of some freeze-dried. Oh, I should have brought over. Can you open that?
No.
Should have brought over some scissors. But freeze-dried, here we go, here, is pretty much the same, it's the same formulas as the raw food that these companies make, and then they take it through a freeze-drying process that removes all of the moisture.
Now, a common misconception is that
here's some freeze-dried.
And a common misconception is that this is completely raw. It has actually been heated up a little bit in order to create the evaporation process. So it's not cooked, but you can definitely say that it has been heated slightly. Therefore, it is not as pure as a raw diet. And a lot of the so-called pathogens have also been removed in the process. So it's a little bit cleaner for some folks who have dogs with immune compromised systems. It might be a safer route, and it's certainly every bit as nutritional.
It's convenient too.
It's very convenient. You can travel
Nancy
with it.
is asking, is our cat on a raw diet too? So I tried.
Yeah, we tried.
And cats are finicky. So no, he's not. He didn't really go for it. But I feed him canned food, and we'll talk about canned food in a second. But so freeze dried. A lot of people use this as a topper, so you can break it up like that. You can crumble it into a powder. You can mix it with your kibble as an enticer or to add extra nutrition. Or you can feed it as a full diet, but you're going to want to rehydrate it with some type of moisture, it being goat's milk, bone broth, or even just water. Okay, we're going to move down the pyramid to a very small category called dehydrated food, or air dried. And Ziwi Peak, they make a really good air dried food. I'll show you what that looks like. So it almost looks like a meat jerky. Hey.
Sorry.
It looks like a meat jerky, and it's just a meat. Let's see. Like this one's chicken, chicken liver, chicken heart, New Zealand green mussel, chicken bone, lecithin, dried kelp, minerals, and then vitamins. Again, a lot of people, I use these as training treats because you get a ton in a bag at a really good price, and ton of treats. And it's mainly meat, so your dog won't get fat on it. But yeah, you can use this as a topper, mixer, or full diet. This stuff's kind of pricey though, so big dog people usually just use it as a mixer. Okay, we're going down the pyramid. So we just did raw diet, freeze-dried, and dehydrated. Then we're going to go to premium cans. So canned food, yes, it's been processed a bit, but it has a lot more moisture than kibble, and moisture is very important, especially if your animal is prone to UTIs or something like that. But this is one of my favorite cans, Waruva, Funky Chunky. It actually looks like that. It looks like something you would eat. It's like shredded chicken and vegetables in a gravy. But there's also the pâtés and stuff too. So the reason cans are better than a kibble is because it hasn't been burnt to a crisp. That's pretty much.
Yeah, it's not a meat cookie that's been cooked to death, literally, and forming lots of carcinogens. They definitely go into that class 2 carcinogen right there with smoking and plutonium. So, you've got to watch out.
I mean, I'm not talking, when I talk about canned food or a wet food, I'm not talking about Little Caesars. Little Caesars has meat byproduct, corn syrup in it, and I stay away from corn syrup myself. So why would I give my dog corn syrup? A lot of people think that just feeding canned food is bad for their teeth. That is a myth. They think that eating kibble cleans the teeth. No,
that's a complete myth. It's like saying cookies will clean your teeth,
or a pretzel. That's like saying, oh, I ate a pretzel, I just cleaned my teeth.
You end up with crumbs stuck in the pockets in your gums, and vets, thrive on doing dentals because of the kibble that we're feeding our dogs. There's no way it can be classified as good for teeth on any level.
Kibble was
dogs don't even chew kibble; they swallow it.
Yeah,
they crunch a little and swallow.
Kibble was created as a convenience factor for humans.
That's right. It had nothing.
Before that, they were eating table scraps, which is probably better.
And cans. Cans was really the first pet food, and most of those were like raw, uncooked cans of pretty scary-looking food.
So, going down the pyramid,
premium cans.
We covered raw diet, freeze-dried, dehydrated, premium cans, and we're going to go to premium kibble. So, a premium kibble, you have a specific meat listed first, not just meat or byproduct. And I'm still a fan of grain-free, and I'll go into that in a second. No byproduct, no gluten, and the majority of the protein content comes from meat. That's the big thing too. A lot of companies let me back up. To make a kibble, you have to have a binder. That binder can be grain, it can be corn, it can be potato, it can be rice.
Lentils.
Yeah, rice or lentils. It can be millet. I mean, there's so many, and there's pros and cons to all of them. Bottom line, dogs don't need any of that.
They all represent one thing, and that's the carbohydrate content in the food.
Yeah.
Some of them actually have protein too, but that's kind of undetermined.
You want to get your protein from the meat,
right,
not from the veg or the carb that's in there.
Just because a veg contains a protein doesn't necessarily mean your dog will be able to utilize it, again, unless it is just really delivered to the dog system in a perfect way. And most of them don't. They come right out the back end with the rest of the carbs that we're giving our dogs as filler and binder.
So carbs for us is different than for them. When we eat carbs, it gives us energy. When they eat carbs, it makes them fat. When dogs eat fat, it gives them energy. So it's like totally opposite. And when we eat fat, it makes us fat. So, and that brings me to another subject I wanted to talk about, was when people come in and say, my dog's overweight, I need a low-fat food. No, you don't. You don't need a low-fat food. They get their energy from fat. Anyway, I digress. So I prefer grain-free kibbles. Usually they have a higher meat content, but ultimately, you want high meat content, low carb, as little binder as possible, and all your protein, as most as you can, protein coming from the meat.
Yeah, and there's several grained foods out there that also achieve this goal. So whether it's grain free,
like I like Nature's Logic. Nature's Logic is a great grain in.
They
use this is beef meal and millet is a low glycemic grain.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge potato is technically a grain-free diet, but I don't like white potato because it's just a cheap way to make a grain-free diet, and
it's a starch with some protein.
High glycemic.
Yeah.
So if your dog is prone to yeast infections, something that's high glycemic just turns into sugar. Sugar feeds the yeast. Same with most grains, though. It'll just turn into sugar, and sugar feeds the yeast. So anyway, so this is one of, I brought visuals. This is is one of my favorite companies. They make grain-in and grain-free foods. This one's a grain-free. One of our most popular ones is Game Bird.
It may be the oldest dog food company in North America, actually. They were one of the first to make a commercial dog food.
They started in like the 1929 or something.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy family history. It's like all over their website too, if you want to learn more about that.
Yeah, From Family Foods. It's an amazing story.
Okay, so we're going to go down the list here. By the way, if anybody has any questions, pop it in. I know not many people are watching, but if you're,
it's Thursday around 10:30.
I know.
Give us a call.
Reach out. A lot of people watch this in replay, and we're streaming to YouTube as well. So hopefully somebody will get some type of information out of this they can use. Okay, we're going down the pyramid here. We talked about raw diet, freeze dried, dehydrated, premium cans, premium kibble. Now we're going to talk about just quality kibble. And that's a kibble that has a specific meat listed first, may have lower protein than premium kibble, contains grain, and has higher carbs, but it's going to cost you less. So if you're paying less than $1 per pound for your kibble, it is probably not worth feeding. You're probably better off feeding table scraps. For a good quality food, you need to pay at least $1 per pound or more. So
yeah, otherwise it will contain mystery meat. It will contain mystery ingredients that were jobbed and searched for in ways that the company had no control over. It's like co-packing of menu foods when all those dogs got melamine and were given really short lives because of co-packing.
Co-packing is a whole nother subject that I could get into, but when we bring in a brand, we try to make sure we really like them to have their own manufacturing facility and source all of their own ingredients. But co-packing is where you get another, like say you're a brand and you have another facility make the food for you. Sometimes,
and they source those ingredients.
Yeah, sometimes that facility will source for you and use your
ingredient panel to make your recipe.
But they don't care where the meat
they don't care.
The ingredients are coming from.
They just want the cheapest meat.
But
and let me tell you something, in pet food, the cheapest meat is not a meat that you want to be in touch with because they're allowed. Remember, this is a self-regulated industry. AFCO self-regulates the pet food industry. And, though they do their best to maintain a pretty high standard, it is still not a standard that can be totally trusted. And when you get into the co-packing world with the really large manufacturers, they couldn't tell you where they're getting their meat.
We do carry some foods that are co-packed, but these facilities will only co-pack for like 2 or 3 other brands. So it's not a giant like Menu Foods who was co-packing for 100 different brands. And if you remember back in 2007 or 8, when all those dogs and cats got sick, that was tainted wheat gluten that was coming from China that Menu Foods was putting in everything from Old Roy to Science Diet.
Even some baby food ended up with it in it. So let's face it, this is what happens when you source for the cheapest.
And wheat gluten is a cheap way to raise the protein level anyway.
It's a false protein.
It's not good. It's a filler. And they were putting it. And so yes, Science Diet is made, well, at least it was, I don't know where it is now, in the same facility as Old Roy. Anyway, that's a little on co-packing. But so now we're going to go down to low quality cans, and I kind of touched on that. Meat is not listed first, contains byproduct, contains corn syrup, soy, or wheat. Guess what? Science Diet and Royal Canin have all that in there, and they charge an arm and a leg for that stuff.
Let's be clear about a byproduct meal. A byproduct meal is like, let's take a chicken, for example. The byproducts of a chicken are the feathers, the beaks, the combs, which is the little red skin, and then the feathers. That's the byproducts of a chicken.
So you want your dog eating
so then they
like,
take that,
like
they make a paste
feathers?
out of it, and that is a meal that you can put into food. And it's crazy that this is being recommended to give to them. Like she said, you're better off giving table scraps to your dog.
Oh, I wanted to say
anything with a byproduct meal.
If you want to see what is going on with most of the meat sourcing in the pet industry, watch Pet Fooled on Netflix. Amazing documentary. It's only like an hour and 15 minutes.
They break it down, guys.
They break it down.
So look, what we've done is we actually went and did as much homework as you can do with all the foods that we carry in the store. We've talked to the manufacturers. We've asked them, where do you get your meat? And if there's a food in here that's really popular on the market, you can bet we tried to find out where they get their meat. So if it's not in our store, there's a reason.
So there's a
Even
reason,
if the ingredient panel looks great, if they can't tell me
there's
where
a reason
they get the
Blue
meat,
Buffalo's not in my store. Okay.
I wasn't going to name names.
Oh yeah, send your hate mail, Blue Buffalo. Fine, take your millions, do whatever. But anyway.
But tell me where you get the meat. Where's your meat coming from?
Blue
Who
Buffalo was also sued and lost, I think, $64 million for false advertising because byproduct was found in their foods when they advertised that it's all human grade. So anyway.
We digress.
Then at the bottom of the pyramid is your low quality kibble. This is your Old Roy kind of stuff. Beneful. I consider Beneful very low quality. Has like, let me break it down for you this way. So like Beneful and Old Roy have like 5% or less meat in it. The rest is byproduct and filler.
5%.
A high quality kibble is going to have 50 to 70% meat in it, and the rest is the binder, because you can't really get much more meat in it and make it shelf stable and hold together.
Yeah, that lives on the shelf for years. It's like a Twinkie, guys. There's no nutrition in it.
Most kibbles have over a year shelf life. So what does that tell you? You're pretty much giving your dog, and look, we sell kibble.
We sell good kibble, at least the best kibble that they can make. The kibble that at least meets the standard that we're looking for. Where do you get your meat? What's the temperature that you bake it at? Is it going to provide more nutrition
we have some kibbles
than like, the disease?
Like the Stella and Chewy kibble is actually really cool because it is baked at a very low temperature. So it retains more nutrition than something that was baked at or extruded at a very high temperature. So yes, there's different qualities of kibbles, but if you're feeding a kibble diet, which is a dry food, some people don't know what kibble is, but yeah, it's the dry stuff in a bag.
Dog food in a bag.
If you're feeding that, I highly recommend adding moisture to it, whether that's water, goat milk, bone broth. If you do bone broth, make sure there's no onions in it. To add moisture to their diet because they don't drink enough water. Or you could add canned food. You can even, and this is controversial too. Some of the raw diet feeders say you shouldn't mix raw with the dry. I've heard it both ways. Every dog's different. So, if you wanted to introduce some raw food into their diet and not go all the way, you could do raw one meal, kibble the other meal, or you could try mixing it in the same meal. And as long as they don't get an upset tummy, I think it's fine.
It's a great appetite stimulant too. If you have a dog that's not eating well, you sprinkle a little of the dry, freeze-dried raw diet onto their kibble diet, and 9 out of 10 times they gobble it right up because they just needed a little stimulation, and nothing says stimulant like raw meat.
Honestly, if you're feeding Old Roy or Beneful or some crap from the grocery store, you're probably better off feeding table scraps. That's how I feel.
Just watch out for the salt.
Yeah, but still, I still think they're better off eating the damn table scraps.
It's definitely
I'm sorry.
Fail. Internet fail.
All right. I know we don't have many viewers right now, so not going to be any questions, but if anybody has any questions that are watching after the fact, you can always email me, Sherry@odysseypets.com. That's SHERRY at ODYSSEYpets.com. Info@odysseypets.com. You can message me through our Facebook page. You can call us. Anyway, yeah, we're in North Dallas. But
we're here to serve.
If you didn't have anything else, I was going to just update everyone on the times that are moving around for our events.
Yeah, things are changing here in Texas because of the governor releasing the stores to open back up. This has been an interesting spate. We're all still wearing our masks. We're going to continue to wear masks. We know that folks are going to shop maybe a little more. We've had people shopping this whole time because of the pet food being considered one of the necessities. So we've been open, and I think that now that they're going to basically tear the Band-Aid off in Dallas, it looks like we're going to go ahead and ride the curve. So we will be slowly reintroducing daycare. Again, everything is going to be on a tiered basis. We're going to bring things back slowly, not quick.
So so tomorrow we are expanding our hours. We've been doing 9 to 5 and today's our last day, 9 to 5. So
last day,
May 1st, we are going to expand our hours from that to 7:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. so that people can drop off their dogs before work.
Yeah.
And pick up after work kind of thing. Oh, Kathleen says it was really nice to see you. Yeah, Kathleen came in while we were going live. It was good to see you. Yeah. So, and then next Thursday, we're going to open up our daycare. We are asking people if they could make a reservation, though.
Yeah, we really want to.
We don't want to get overrun.
We're doing reservations, and we're going to minimize it and make sure that everything's going smoothly. Right. We don't want
anybody
getting sick over this.
And we can't handle everyone all at once anyway.
So. Remember, nothing that we do like this would be worth even one person getting sick.
We're going to require our kennel techs to wear masks during play.
We're all masking up.
And sanitize their hands after they touch any of the dogs.
That's right.
Just in case there's any transference.
We're taking it seriously. And that doesn't mean that it's going to work. It just means that we're still, going to go forward with our guard up. And we hope that everyone stays safe and minds the protocol. Again, this isn't about, this doesn't protect me. It just protects you if I'm asymptomatic and carrying it.
Right.
So
we are encouraging people to wear masks into the store because we're wearing masks to protect you. It'd be nice if you wore one to protect us.
And most of you are.
Like that guy back there.
Most of you are. And we really thank you. Thank you.
So Odyssey Answers, because of our expanded hours, we are moving Odyssey Answers to Saturdays at 11 a.m.
Not this Saturday.
Right. Not this one, but the next one.
Saturday at 11. I think it's a better time.
Shopping with Sherry is normally on Tuesdays at 5:30. We're moving it to Wednesdays at 7:30. The Fish Corner with Chase is going to move to 7:30 on Fridays. And that's our regulars. But then I have some other events coming up for May that are posted in our events on our Facebook page and our webpage. So we really appreciate those of you who tuned in. And again, if you're watching this in replay and you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Support small businesses. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. We actually, we're probably going to keep doing delivery even after things get back to normal. It seems to be a great way to really, for folks who just don't have time to get out and get what they need. It hasn't been an inconvenience. It's actually been a nice addition to what we're doing. We're going to maintain our online.
Yeah, we have an online website that you can purchase from as well.
All of this stuff has been, very encouraging for us to.
Yeah, we made a lot of changes during this COVID thing.
A lot.
Well, maybe we'll talk about more of that next time.
Yeah, I'm actually on Facebook. That was never going to happen. It was never going to happen.
Anyway,
I'm on Facebook.
Thank you guys so much. Y'all are awesome. And we will see you next time.